It's time for the Vaughn Joseph Show, the Authors of Amazon series. Today we welcome energy healer and author, Miss Marla Goldberg. So, welcoming you to the show, Miss Marla Goldberg. How are you today?
I'm great, Vaughn. How are you?
Fabulous. Thanks for taking your time out of your busy schedule to sit with me today and talk about everything Marla Goldberg. So,
thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So you have your hands in quite a bit, and you're an author, energy healer, speaker, teacher. What got you started down this road onto this? I don't even really know how to, you can't really describe it as one word, but you're doing so much. How did you get started in all of this?
It's really interesting. I never thought I'd be an energy healer. I never thought in my life I'd say I'm an energy healer. But in 2003, I was in a really bad place, ended up going to a seminar, and this woman who was talking about how to heal yourself. And this little voice in my head said, you need to do it, nothing else is working. So I joined the school, 3 years, 14 modalities, thought, I'm just going to use this for myself and my friends, and, when it was on my merry way. Well, in 2014, I was traveling with my husband, and I was sound asleep, and this big booming voice said, you need to start a practice. I mean, it wasn't a question. It wasn't gentle. You need to start a practice, and you need to start helping people. And I woke up, and my husband's asleep because I thought it was him saying it, but not that he would. I mean, it would be the weirdest thing coming out of his mouth if he did. And then when he woke up, we talked about it, and he goes, well, maybe you should do it. And I started doing it part-time. And then I decided, I'm going to go leap into it full-time. And this was really different for me. And being in Chicago has a different energy feel and a different kind of openness to the metaphysical than, let's say, California, Florida, New York. They're wide open. Oregon, Washington, Chicago, not so much. So I was working with a coach, and I was telling her what was going on. And she said, Marla, I've never known anybody have so many opportunities, and you're saying no to all of them. And it happened to be at the end of 2017. So I made a decision. 2018 was going to be my year of yes. I had listened to Chandra. She's the woman who does all the TV shows. I can't remember her last name. But she wrote a book about a year of yes. And I said, okay, 2018 is going to be my year of yes. And I started doing all these things. And one of them was I started my podcast. I started going down a different road. And I've just been pivoting. It's like a river. I've just been pivoting where the flow is taking me. So podcast, books were involved. I had 5 psychics tell me I was going to write books. I said, absolutely not. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. And I've been in 3 compilations in my solo book, My Effing Long Journey to Loving Myself, A Guide to a Shorter Path. And now I'm, moving down, and I'm working on a summit that's launching on May 18th. A virtual summit, and developing an educational, inspirational, motivational platform called the Global Consciousness Development Circle. And these things are just coming to me, and I'm just continuing on now I'm on my 3rd year of saying yes. I did all of 2018, 19, and now we're in 2020. And I just keep saying yes to opportunities.
So when you went in search of something, you said you were going through a rough time. When you found what you found, did you find that it helped you through the problem that you were having?
Yes, it helped me. Well, it gave me the strength to leave my first marriage, which was really abusive. He was an alcoholic and very, very abusive. And I was sitting like a deer in headlights. Like, what do I do? How do I, do I move forward? Because there was a lot involved in it. But it gave me the strength to say, I don't care if I'm broke as a joke. I'm getting out of the situation because it's so unhealthy and so toxic that I'm not going to continue with it. And so it did that. It helped me heal my wounds. We all have wounds. And as one of somebody I know said, which is beautiful, I had a lot of rich opportunity for growth, meaning I came from a really dysfunctional family, like a lot of us, and which are all now I've learned all stepping stones to growth. It's how you deal with it to grow. And so I started healing my wounds, and then my growth started happening. And it was really miraculous.
How long into this process of learning more about yourself and expanding on these opportunities to grow did you find yourself writing a book? Because I know writing a book is something that is it's very involved, and it takes a lot of from you. And I know a couple people that have written books personally, and something has to set that off. So what was the path to writing that book, or was it something that you've always wanted to do?
So I started, no, it's something I never wanted to do. I never thought I would do it. Everything I'm doing now, I never thought I'd be doing. It's all brand new. But what happened was I got involved with another coaching group, and the gentleman who was leading it said, you need to show your authority, your expertise. You do that by writing a book. Okay. Again, my year of yes, this is 2018. So I said, I'm going to go do this. And I went down to North Carolina. We have a place there, and I sequestered myself for a month. And what I would do is I would meditate, and I would just start automatic writing. And automatic writing, for those who don't know what it is, it's really just that you go into a quiet space, and then when you come back into your body, you just take a pen and you just write. You don't think, you don't filter, you don't judge, you just write. And after about 3 weeks of that, I started rereading what I was writing, and it was my story. And then I kept hearing messages of, no, you need to help people with this story. So I put like really the 14 most effective tools and techniques that I use to turn my life around. I put in the book in the back. And then I had another voice in my head say, no, you need to show everybody where to use it. So the way I wrote the book was I would tell a portion of my story. And then when there was a part where I would need to process, I then would write, well, if I had these techniques and tools, then I would use, and I would put the number so they could refer in the back of the book what it is. And that's how the whole process came about. And I was truly guided. This was truly a spiritually guided effort to help people, to help shorten up their path, because nobody has to wait as long as I do to stop making those bad decisions that don't serve you.
As long as you make those decisions, make the decision to stop making those decisions, it doesn't matter when, does it?
No.
Absolutely. What is the process, or what is something that you would suggest for somebody that's just getting their feet wet, so to speak, into something like this, and they're trying to find the right path for them? And what I mean by that is I personally just found this structured aspect of this probably about a year ago. I met someone, and then they were really into these things, and I started to explore these various Kundalini yoga and mindfulness meditation and all these different things. So there's so much out there. What would you suggest for someone that's looking like yourself? You were looking for these answers, and you found what you were looking for, and you progressed along that path. Should someone do to get started? Where should they go?
Oh, that's a great question. And I think it all depends on what's going on in their life. I think if they're looking for expansion, they might want to go to somebody to teach them how to meditate. If they want to heal, you'd want to find out there's so many modalities out there. Reiki is like healing 101. I mean, it's powerful and it feels great, but there's other kinds. Like I'm trained in 24 modalities or techniques, whichever way you want to learn. And how I did it was, something would come to me and I'd say, oh, that's interesting. And I would try it, but not everything I've tried and I've learned, I would use in my practice. And so, everybody's individual. So it's like fitting a glove to a hand. You have to find what fits for you, what feels comfortable for you. And sometimes you have to try a few different techniques and modalities before you can come up with, oh yeah, I really like that. That's helpful. That's really powerful for me. And when go that way. I know that isn't as direct of an answer as you might have been looking for, but everybody's so different. Some people just need to have their energy recharged. Some people are truly, truly wounded and they really need to know how to heal those wounds. And they need to go someone who's really proficient in guiding someone, because an energy healer is a vessel. They do their part, but the client has to do their part as well. So it's coming together and being able to work together to get to the final outcome, which is for you to be healed, for you to be able to shift your life, for you to have more flow in your life. It might be manifesting abundance, relationships, whatever it might be. And so I would say you can go on YouTube, watch a video, see what resonates with you. That's something you can do for free. And then if you like the healer, you can reach out to them, or you can just look up other healers and see who might resonate with you. There are a lot of metaphysical places like Lilydale and Casadaga in Florida, where there's spiritual communities where they have healers and spiritualists, metaphysicians, psychics, mediums, that might be able to guide you to tell you where you're going. If you have medical problems, a medical intuitive is one that I would suggest to do. And there's, or listen, or you can listen to my podcast and listen to my the people who I have on as guests. So, for example, I had Pat Longo on, and Pat is this brilliant healer. She's just amazing. So you can learn about healing modalities that way. Listen to different podcasts. You can listen to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I find that a lot in my experience, it was all of the things that I was experiencing were all different. They seem to bring something different to my life. And like you said, you kind of really need to find which one you want to work on or focus on the most. And at least for me, and go down that path, and learn as you go, because there's so much, and they're all seemingly so different that it could kind of just become
overwhelming.
It's overwhelming, but it's almost like somebody told me the reason why a lot of us are single is because if you're dating all these different people, i.e., practicing all these different disciplines,
right?
You don't have a clean signal for the right one to come in. You're putting out these, little signals all over the place. So maybe it's something like that. I find that if I'm focused on one discipline, it's easier for me to learn and to benefit from that particular discipline. So
here's what I don't suggest. People go and they'll get a healing from this person on Monday, and then another person on Tuesday, and another person. That I do not do that, because you have to give time to assimilate whatever was going on. You need time to assimilate it into your energetic field. And if you're doing that, yes, you're like pinging all over. You don't know whose modality has helped you or hasn't helped you, or you can actually do an energetic. So what I'm hearing is an energetic ODing, where you have so many different things going on that, and it can make you sick. I mean, it could literally make you sick because you're moving so much energy in so many different ways. And so my suggestion is first of all, find somebody who you're comfortable with and resonate with. You have to listen to your guidance with that. So many people, might feel intimidated. Like if you go to a metaphysical show and you have all these people hawking, come to me, come to me, come to me. And someone just knows how to sort of like hook you in, but you just don't feel good. Follow that. If you don't feel good with the person, step away. You need to find someone who you resonate with, because that means you're vibing on the same, or near an energetic level. They're able to communicate with you, at least energetically. That's number one. Number two, when you get a session, don't have 14 sessions in a row. You have to give yourself at least 4 or 5 days to assimilate and let what happened do its work. And that's really important.
Is there something that we can do as individuals on a daily basis? Should there, like for myself, when I wake up, my first thing that I do is I just kind of sit there and I just think about what I want to accomplish for the day. And I don't mean, go to the market, things like that, but positivity, that's how I start my day. I start my day. It's probably not enough, but like 10 minutes of just mindfulness where I just sit there and I think about what I want and move forward from from there. Is there like something that we should be doing throughout the day maybe to reset that or to make sure that we're on target? Or is that enough the first thing in the morning and then you go about your day? I kind of feel like sometimes maybe I maybe lose focus, if that makes sense, or I'm just not really doing what I feel like I should be doing to accomplish things.
Well, let's not should all over ourselves. That's number one. Let's take that out of the equation. There's no shoulds. You're doing what you're doing. Whatever you do it's it's sort of like, putting money in a bank. You start out with your 10 minutes. If that's all you have, that's all you have. If you have time to work on gratitude, I'm huge on prayer and gratitude in the morning. So for me, I have this 20-minute, when I walk my dog, I talk out loud, and I pray, and I go into gratitude, and I go into clearing things out of I ask Spirit for guidance, because they're always there. But if you don't ask for help, they're not going to step in because of free will. So unless you say, help me, guide me, show me, you're on your own, more or less. And then I go into a whole clearing thing, but then I let Spirit know what I'm open for. I am open and ready to receive. And then at the end of all my prayers, I always ask that they hear and answer my prayers harmoniously and joyfully with ease and grace, because that's how you want your prayers answered, with ease and grace, with joy, with harmony. So that for myself and anybody else who I've included in my prayers, because it's always for the highest good of myself and anybody else. Because you don't want to, again, push your will onto somebody if it's not for their highest and best good. There's meditation. And you know what? Meditation doesn't need 45 minutes. You can put 2 feet on the ground, close your eyes, take some slow belly breaths in, releasing. You can set an intention. You could breathe in love, peace, relaxation, whatever you need, and then breathe out what doesn't work for you. Breathe out stress, fear, anxiety, overwhelm. And there's a lot of that going on today. And so if you need to do that every hour for 2 minutes, great. If, you just do it in the morning and in the evening, it just helps to ground you and keep you really solid in your body. Sometimes we just sort of like get flitted. We get so caught up in stuff that we flit around and, energetically and mentally. It's like ping, bing, bing, bing. I like it like it's a pinball machine.
How can we identify something or someone or maybe, a situation that we're involved in that isn't probably an ideal situation for us to be involved in? Say you're in a bad relationship, or, you're friends with someone that, maybe you're not in alignment with them on a lot of things, but you kind of like them for other things. So how do you know when you have the wrong circle, I guess?
But intrinsically, when someone's not right for you. The red flags are there. The choice is paying attention to the red flags. The warnings are always there. The signs are always there. It is just about paying attention to them and then saying, okay, the red flags are here for a reason. I can't make excuses for this person. I've got to cut and run, because it's not for my highest and best good to keep somebody and most of the time there's some toxicity of some sort that's involved, whether it's the person is too selfish or too narcissistic or whatever it might be. There's the red flags, and when they show that to you and it's not aligning with how you feel and what you want in a relationship, you need to pay attention to it. And the thing I like to say to people is your decisions are a reflection of how you feel about yourself. So if you allow a toxic person to keep coming back into your life, like they've been in your life, they went away, they come back, or they've been in your life consistently, but them being in your life makes your life chaotic or painful, or there's a lot of hurt and disappointment. Well, those are huge red flags saying this isn't nurturing. This isn't, making me grow as a person in the way I want to grow in a relationship. You're growing in other ways, but you're not growing what you're looking for. And then next thing you know, you've got 3 years gone, 4 years gone, 5 years gone, and Last thing I believe in is regretting things, and turning around. And there's been relationships I've been in, and I'm like, oh my God, and there goes 4 years of my life. But it's a way of knowing that this is not right and acting on it. And it's not being selfish, and you're not being rude, and you can't listen to the common sense somebody else may talk you into being, because again, your decisions are a reflection about how you feel about yourself.
Exactly. How do you, what would you suggest be like some of the first steps that somebody should take? Because like you said, you were in the situation that wasn't ideal, and then you found your path that removed you from that situation. So now your eyes are open, I guess you could say, a bit wider. For someone or somebody that hasn't found a discipline, they haven't really had an answer, and they're watching this right now or listening on maybe iTunes or whatever, what would you recommend or suggest that they do to help get them started to maybe just get the get up and go, to literally get up and go?
Well, I would evaluate. Evaluation is huge. Finding out, am I making these decisions? Am I reacting this way because there are things in my life that I need to release, like anger, frustration. And a lot of times we make decisions because we're trying to so here's an example, and this might be a little TMI, that I had issues with my father, and I got involved with men who were had issues like my father. So the whole unconscious thing was, if I can get it to work with them, then it'll make it all better with him. Well, that's not the case. And I just needed to learn how to release all the anger and hurt and frustration, and then learn how to forgive it and myself. And those are two biggies in the step to really taking control to love who you are and love the decisions that you bring into your life, the people, the things, the experiences.
Yeah, I was listening to a clinical psychologist a few weeks ago, and he was saying literally just that. We find these relationships that are exactly like the bad relationships that we have with our parents or whomever, and we're trying to make it work with them so that we can do, like you said, make it work.
It heals the relationship that was bad, and yet you're never going to get that. It's like being on a hamster wheel going after the same brass ring, but guess what? It's not the brass ring you're meant to have.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me about the Global Consciousness Summit that's taking place in a couple weeks here. It looks like almost 10 days here, actually.
Yes.
Is this something that you do? Is it an annual, or is it something that you're just starting?
This is our first one.
Okay.
And so, ironically, my colleagues and I started cooking this idea up back last year, the last quarter of the year. And we wanted something that, because the earth is in such pain. I mean, it's healing now with the pandemic. It has allowed the earth to heal a little, quite a bit. And then people are in such bad places. And so my colleagues and I were talking, and it's like, let's do something to support them, to bring up issues, make awareness, bring on people who can talk about this, experts, and hopefully it will help people, the earth, their relationships, whatever it is that they're looking for. And so I'm really pleased with the people who are our expert interviews. They're amazing. And these interviews are so powerful, and there's so much content in it. And we have, I don't know if you know Dr. Sharon Stroud, but she is the spiritual leader for the Worldwide Interfaith Center in Palm Springs, California. And she's been doing this for 40 some years. And she has been involved she's the recipient of 3 pages worth of awards. And it's all about peace. So we're talking about peace and what peace means, and the whole new thought, the Ernest Holmes. I don't know if you're familiar with the Ernest Holmes Science of Mind movement. No. But it's really an amazing, loving, peaceful, way of believing. We have Dr. Louis Turry, who is so phenomenal. He does the old kind of astrology where you have dragon heads and dragon tails in your astrological chart. And he's been abducted by UFOs 3 or 4 times in his life, and he talks about his abductions and his situation. His sister was abducted with him. He was from France originally. We have Dr. Susan Rossi. We have Alison Stillman, who's an aromatic alchemist. So we just cover the gamut. We have Erica Stark, who is a part of the Hemp Association, and talking about the power of hemp and how all it's supporting and the things that they're doing with hemp, so that they take that plastic footprint off. They're making single-serve hemp packages, for food.
Right.
Things. It's just what's going on with hemp is just amazing, and it's just eye-opening. We have a gentleman who talks about urban gardening and how not to just feed yourself, but to feed your community. Because when you're growing your own plants and it's organic, there's more than enough for neighbors. They have these gardens where people come in and just take what they need, and talks about that. So we hit the whole gamut of spiritual and then real social consciousness issues.
Sounds interesting. Is it something that people can access over the internet, or do they have to be there to experience it?
It's virtual.
Is it?
And, yeah, it is virtual. And so it starts on the 18th, and we have 25 speakers. So it's 7 days. Some days we have 4 interviews, some days 3. To find it, if you want to reach out, connect with me on Facebook, because we will be sending out links and promotions, or on my Facebook, which is Marla Goldberg 9. And I'm sorry, we just changed it because we changed the spelling in my name. And so the reason
got MG Healing.
MG Healer, because but there was one Marla Goldberg, but now that I've changed, put an extra R in my last name, and this is a numerological thing. I had a guest on my show who is a numerologist / astrologer, Tanya Gabrielle, amazing woman. And she told me after the show was over, she goes, the vibration would be better for you if you added an extra R in your name, either your first name or your last name. So I threw it in my last name. Husband's not too happy, but I thought it was easier.
That is hilarious. I had a question for you, and it just zapped out of my head, and I don't remember what it was. Well, you were talking about the
summit,
the community gardening, actually.
Yes.
That's really going to be big going forward because of the situation that we're in now, I find. And ironically, I was thinking about this just a few years ago. I was playing around with vegetarianism, veganism, etc., and just experiencing things, and not wanting to eat anything that I couldn't grow out in our back garden, because we had this huge garden. And there's so many artificial things that we put into our body, and I feel so different when I stopped, because I stopped eating meat. I did stop eating mostly red meat and chicken and things like that. I still ate fish, and I felt really different about it. I was sleeping better. So that could be a big deal, and I think that we're really going to be needing to be moving towards something like that for sustainability. I don't know what's going to happen with all of this that's happening in the world, but I think that that's going to definitely be a key component.
I agree, and all these people who are out of work, it doesn't cost a lot to buy a package of seeds and split them, because there's so many seeds, and they could be making their own food and not having to rely so much on food banks, because you can get your fruits and vegetables yourself. It's springtime. This is the perfect growing season. And know that you'll be able to, we had lettuce in 3 weeks. After I did the interview, I went out and I have a little deck out back. And so I planted cantaloupe, green beans, squash, and lettuce. So I really wanted pumpkins and watermelon, but my husband put an absolute kibosh to that. And I have a lemon tree. He did allow me to have a lemon tree.
That is one thing I miss about living in LA is we had loads of fruit everywhere. There was a lemon tree, right outside
grapefruit
my kitchen. Yeah, we had grapefruit at the bottom of the street. I had a neighbor, they had nectarines, I believe, growing in their backyard. They had so many, they would bring them in bushels and set them on the curb so people could just take them, because they just rot, because there's literally far too
many. Right.
Nothing to do with it. You have a podcast, Guided Spirit Conversations.
Yes.
What takes place there? Is it interactive? Do people call in, or is it you giving advice, or is it something else?
It's a live interview show, and people are able to call in and ask questions to the guest, but it's mostly a conversation just like you and I are having today, but they're involved in different aspects of being a metaphysician, a healer, a spiritual leader, and it just opens up people to people that aren't in the mainstream, meaning they're not Wayne Dyer, they're not Deepak, which are household names, but they're people that are powerful and have amazing abilities and talents and gifts, and they are able to help people, and we're all here to serve, and all these people that are opening up now are here to serve and be of service. In a way, is explaining what they do, how they work with their clients, how they help their clients, to help people, and some may not even be clients, but will you help them? And it's just, I find it's a service because it's twofold. For me, it's spotlighting somebody who you may not know and they now become into your vision. And the second part is that for the listener, I ask that we give tips, tools, and techniques that they can incorporate into their lives easily to help shift, tweak, or enhance what's going on for them.
What's a tip that you could give someone that, say, for me, yesterday was just, I don't know if it was the moon or what it was.
That was the full moon. It was the most powerful full moon of the year.
I was a wreck yesterday. I was like, I need to go take a nap. I was just overwhelmed with something that was so basic, and I just couldn't deal with it. And I didn't know what to do.
And didn't you find the whole week you found it like the tension just winding up and winding up and winding up?
Oh,
that's the way it's been for me.
It came to a boiling point yesterday. So, and then I do a little bit of photography just because as a hobby, and I get a ping over an app and it says don't miss the
meteor shower.
All these different things. So I'm like, maybe that's what it was, because I hadn't been paying attention to the cycles of the moon at all. So I'm assuming that was what it was. So what can you give someone, maybe say like that's in a situation similar to that, where they just need to get themselves recentered? Maybe is there like a breathing technique that you would recommend, or maybe they should just step away from everything, or do you think?
It's always good to step. If you're overwhelmed with something, step away, take a walk, get out in the fresh air. Taking a nap was good for some. Take an Epsom salt bath. Let it pull some of the toxins out of your body, out of your organ, out of your energetic field. If you can't take a bath, you can do an Epsom salt foot soak, where you can be doing two things at one time. Like if you need to read something, or you can write something longhand, or if you're really technical and coordinated enough to type on a computer and not push it in the water, then that would be a good thing. But slow breathing, going out in nature, listening to the birds sing, and breathing slowly, to me, is one of the most regrounding things one can do. Or take a walk. I just heard wearing leather-soled shoes are better because you can get the energy can come through the leather where it doesn't come through rubber, through sneakers or flip-flops. Or stand, if it's warm enough, with your feet on soil or on grass or on sand, but get yourself regrounded, because what happens is with everything that's going on, when you start getting into overwhelm and you start like going like, this is too much for me, truly regrounding is for me one of the best things to do. And sometimes I just carry a stone with me. And so what I will do is, I always have my stones with me, but I'll just take a stone and I'll just hold it and rub it or put it in my pocket and carry it around with me. It just reminds me, where this came from, and it's sort of like, okay, I can just feel the energy of it going in.
I had someone that was really good with stones and such, and she would give me bags with stones in them and tell me what each one was. I really miss that. I find that grounding helped me. I used to spend most of my summers in Spain, because I was with someone that had a place in Spain, and we would go away all the time. And I would always have my shoes off when I would go out into the yard, because that insulation, like you said, of the shoe, It just keeps you from getting grounded with the earth, and it's definitely a different feeling in the body when you have that release, I guess, if that's what it's considered, of toxins through the body. I thought it was really, really interesting, actually. So,
and the fact that you could feel it because you were aware of it is so brilliantly wonderful, because you could feel the difference.
Yeah, you definitely feel the difference. There's no question there. I don't know how you feel about this, but you did mention that you had a speaker that talks about UFO abduction.
Yes.
And we've recently been given videos from, I want to say it's the Air Force, or maybe it's the State Department, I don't recall which one it was, of these spaceships that these, unidentified flying, is it
objects?
Yeah, something like that. What are your thoughts on, and this has just gone down a completely different path, I know, from what we're talking about.
That's okay.
But do you feel that maybe we're due to experience something a bit more than these videos? Or I don't even know how to really phrase this question, really. I just kind of feel like we need something to get us together as a group of humans, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Something external. Like this is bringing us together because we're all affected by it potentially. But it's invisible, and it's not an actual tangible entity that's attacking us, that's making us unite.
Right. So to answer your question, when I was younger, I would have said, nah. But today, after everything I've experienced, do I believe that? I believe that people from other planets, like we go to the moon, we go to Mars, we're checking this out, we're checking that out. Well, I think that there's other beings checking us out. And why wouldn't it be so? I mean, it sounds really pie in the sky, but why wouldn't that be true? If we're here checking others out, then it suffices to say that they should be checking us out, and I'm sure that they have. And I think a lot of these like Dr. Turi, his experiences, I believe him. I have no reason not to believe him. I don't think when he was 6 years old, he was on drugs. So you can't blame mushrooms or something like that, on his experiences. But I think they're around. I think they're walking on Earth with us. I truly do believe that there are beings outside of ourselves. And here, and in a soul context, so I work with the clearing the Akashic records, which are your soul records. You can have, your soul is not just in your body. You can have a parallel life going on right now. Your soul could be split and having a parallel life. You could be in a different universe, and you can still have the same soul that you have. You just don't necessarily need all of it. Some could go here and some could go there, and you're still the spiritual being you are.
So we're kind of just having a human experience right now.
Exactly, and it's all temporary.
Very temporary, isn't it?
Yeah.
What is the next? I know you've got the summit coming up, but what's the next big thing coming from you? I feel like people like yourself, we used to call them quantums when I was in an acting class. We had these levels of things that we needed to accomplish. Are you on the path to doing something else? Are you going to maybe writing another book?
Well, in conjunction with the summit, we've started this educational platform, which is going to be launching next week, which is called the Global Consciousness Development Circle. And so what we're doing is we're inviting teachers to come and be faculty, teach courses on our platform. We have live meditations, recorded meditations, blogs, vlogs. There are movies people can rent. If somebody wants to put up a lecture, they're able to do that. It's for the education, the growth, the ascension of the member. It's in a membership. It's in a member. I can't even talk. A member platform, but the membership is really low. We took into consideration what's going on around the planet now and how so many people are on unemployment. And I don't know if you heard about the unemployment numbers here in the States, but they're around 14 point something percent, which is really high. So we're offering like less than $1 a month to participate as a member in this in our circle, and I call it the GCDC, so that people have access to things that are motivating and stimulating, and learn the law of attraction, learn how to manifest, learn how to change your way of thinking. There are steps to doing it. There are steps to manifesting, but you have to get out of your own way to do it.
So do you think that's an effective tool then? You said the law of attraction, like things, say like I don't know if the vision boards, are those things that people should be utilizing as steps towards making their way to a goal, or is there?
Absolutely. I just have finished, before I got on here, I'm working on a workshop, vision book. And instead of having a big board that's not private, you put, your collages on individual pages. So you can have your relationship page, your money page, your professional page, your ideal home page. Excuse me. And then what you can do is every morning you take, when you're doing your mindfulness, you want to take 10, 15 minutes and go over page by page by page, because it reinforces the vision in your mind of what you want to accomplish for yourself. So absolutely.
Thoughts become our reality, don't they?
Absolutely. Everything's energy, and your thoughts are energy. And when you put them out, they come back to you like a boomerang.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, they do. Thank you so much for sitting with me today. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you've got a lot going on. With the summit and so on, and your own podcast, of course. Where can people find you on your social media? And we'll have the links up on the screen in case you don't need to spell the stuff out, but where is it easiest to get a hold of you? And where can people listen to your podcast?
My podcast can be heard on iTunes, on Voice America, actually on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, Guided Spirit Conversations, so you can see the behind the scenes. Because we have commercial breaks, so you can see what's going on during our commercial breaks. And sometimes there's some amazingly spirited, no pun intended, conversation that goes on behind the scenes. And then for myself, I'm at Marla Goldberg with 2 R's, GOLDBERRG.com. So you can find about me, what I do, and all the other things that are going on. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I'm trying to think if I'm LinkedIn. So I think I've hit most of them.
Wherever you get your social media, Marla Goldberg will be there.
I will be there.
Brilliant. Check her out, you guys. It's Marla Goldberg. Thank you so much for sitting with me today. I really appreciate it. Good luck with the Global Consciousness Summit. I will definitely be looking into that as well, especially as it's available over the internet. It's something that I hope to learn something from. So.
Thank you.
Very welcome. Check her out, you guys. You can get her book over at Amazon, Amazon Books, and check out her website, check out her podcast. Just check her out. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, and we will see you when we see you guys. Have a great day.